Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about some of the stereotypes about money in the Bible. It's things like, is money evil? And is money a blessing from God? And the correct view of money is important because it can affect the quality of your life and the life to come. So first stereotype is money evil? And many people get this stereotype based on this verse, 1 Timothy 6:10. And it says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows." So what you have to focus here is the love of money, not the money itself. Money is a neutral thing. If an evil person with evil intention use money for evil, then money can become evil. With the person who's good, has good intentions, and can use money for good, you can say money is actually a good thing. So you can see it depends on the user and their intention and motivation. And when the love and dependence on money becomes greater than your love and dependence on God, that's when it can become evil. And the second stereotype is this, and people get this stereotype: rich people can't go to heaven, based on what Jesus said in Matthew. And he said this, "I say to you, it will be hard for one who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for one who is rich to enter the kingdom of God." Actually, there are plenty examples against this stereotype, like people like Abraham and a lot of people in the Old Testament patriarchs. They were very wealthy. What is Jesus trying to get at? He's trying to get at this fact that this life of comfort, people with money, they tend to have pretty easy life, right? Everything can be quite comfortable, and money is like solution to many problems. So I think Jesus was referring to how hard it is for someone who's so very comfortable to seek reliance on a higher being. And even though you're rich and you understand the very temporary nature of money, one day you have it, the next day you don't, and it's something you can't carry to heaven with you. If they understand that, they will rely more on God rather than money. So it's possible to be rich and still keep your faith. And so the third stereotype I want to cover, money is a blessing from God. We know that this is not true because there's so many exceptions in this world. There are a lot of rich people. You know that they are not Christian. And if it's a blessing from God, they should not be blessed with money. And there's also many examples of poor Christians in our, in our everyday lives, and also examples of poor Christians in the Bible where the rich Christians were encouraged to share their wealth to ease the poverty of the poor Christians. And you know that money is not a blessing from God because money is not the ultimate source of happiness. And God knows that money is not the ultimate fulfillment of our souls. And what is that? It's salvation and eternal fellowship with God. That's what's going to be fulfilling. And money can actually be described more as a gift. That would be more accurate description of money. And that's because that some people have it and some people don't. And God gives it to those he sees fitting. So there's like people who have gift of tongue, gift of teaching, gift of service. Not everybody has all of the gifts. The same can be said about the money as well. And the last stereotype I want to kind of break, people take this verse and they say you shouldn't save and you shouldn't accumulate. And the verse goes like this. This is also what Jesus said: "Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth, but rather store up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where moths do not destroy and where thieves do not steal. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also." And it comes from Matthew 6:20 to 21. And people say, well, if you're worried about money and future, you don't have enough faith in God. And I say that worrying and planning for future are two different things. And some examples of active planning and saving comes from the book of Genesis, where God showed Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, about the coming famine and the years of prosperity. And through Joseph, God was able to save Egypt by being able to store up food during the times of prosperity that came before the famine. Another example of saving in the Bible, Proverbs 6:6-8. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest, and store in summer in preparation for the winter. And so if we were to apply that in our lives, winter and famine can be equivalent to our old age or in retirement. So it represents years of unproductivity, years that we can't produce active income. And then sometimes the famine and winter can represent times of emergencies, illness, or disability. And these things might very well happen in our lives. And then here's another reason to save. This verse comes from 1 Thessalonians 4:11-12. It says that make it your aim to live a quiet life, to mind your own business, to earn your own living, just as we told you before. In this way you will win the respect of those who are not believers, and you will not have to depend on anyone for what you need. And so you definitely don't want to become a burden to your family and your neighbors. And you want to make sure that you have enough saved up. This is the biblically correct ways to view money and savings, and I hope this was helpful. And start saving.